So you notice that I'm doing only the danger zone. That is the original one. And I'm doing only the danger zone. So I'm going down. So it's like we're doing this. Again, something that I hadn't done before. All that I want is, oh, yeah, love it. Give me something. Hi everyone, my name is Maria Elisa Ayerbe. I am a Latin Grammy winner engineer and producer. And today I'm here with Waves Audio to talk about a plugin I love. It's called Waves Harmony. And honestly, it's been a lifesaver for the past few years that it's been out in the market. What does Waves Harmony do? It basically creates synthetic harmonies out of any vocal track that you inserted onto. Today, we're going to talk about actually how to produce vocals, but also it's the fact that Waves Harmony allows you to create also different textures, different harmonies that maybe you never thought that you could do, and the possibility of adding multiple notes. It's just a great scope of additional things that you can throw into your production. So we have a really cool pop track over here. We're going to analyze the different sections of the songs and how Waves Harmony is going to allow me to get super creative and enhance the production that I got going on. Let's check it out. So this is a vocal pop track. It's a little bit of an EDM going on. And now we're going to look at three parts of the song. There's a pre-chorus, then the chorus, and finally the bridge. And see how different treatment of these vocal harmonies can help each one of these sections become much more special. So let's hear a little bit of the song first. Have you forgotten I never give up? I've been waiting. I was around when you needed some love. Needed saving. Giving me eyes but pulling backwards. Paradoxical. When you're around I feel I matter. Take me in your world. All that I want is, oh yeah, love it. Give me something, tell me you won't let go. All that I want is, oh yeah, love it. Give me something, I'm in the danger zone. So for pop music, usually the chorus or the hook, right, is that section where you get the ear candy, where you have all of those melodies that are the ones that you're going to carry with you through the rest of the day. It's usually a melody that it's repetitive, not only the melody, but also the lyrics in the melody. So that's the thing that you catch on. So as a producer, it's really important to reinforce the message of the song. So this song is called Danger Zone. So you're going to notice how there's always an emphasis on saying danger zone. And then the pre-choruses with a good songwriting process, you're going to build up onto that chorus or that hook. So usually your pre-chorus is going to be a section where you want to sort of bringing it down so that when the hook explodes, you feel that energy going up. So you notice how the pre-chorus, which is this section, giving me eyes but it's like tamed down, like da, 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 da. The melody is building up towards that section. So if you are a musician or if you're not, it's really important that you guys go ahead and check out some tutorials available anywhere about how to create chords. What is a chord? What we understand as a chord, because Waves Harmony and overall vocal production and overall music production is based around chords. So major chords, we're talking about the fundamental. In this case, the fundamental or the key of the song is E, right? So the note E has, when we're talking about a major chord in E, we're talking about the fundamental, which is E, the third, which is G, right? And then the fifth, which is going to be B. So our chord is going to consist of E, G sharp in this case, and B, right? So when we play this, that is our major chord. The cool thing, and this is why this plugin is so well designed, once you figured out what your fundamental chord is, Waves Harmony is not going to play fake notes around it or like different notes, which is a cool thing because it is designed in a way that it's going to work harmonically around the fundamental note. So in this case, I was digging through the plugin and I found this medium spread worked really well. Let's hear it first.
Giving me eyes but pulling backwards. Paradoxical. When you're around, I feel I matter. Take me into your world.
So yeah, we're talking about that it's like basically the harmony is doing like kind of like right? That is the sort of like the melody for the pre-chorus. And I found this medium spread, what it's doing is that it's doing basic chords around it, where it's like it's going around those notes, which is the sixth degree of the scale, which is in a minor chord, and then it goes back to that B, which is the fifth, and then it goes back to the that is E, which is the major chord, which is our fundamental. So it is throwing, you can read the notes right there.
Giving me eyes but pulling backwards. Paradoxical.
So yeah, you can hear the B, you can hear the C sharp, the E major chord, and it's just, but okay, those are notes, and but what is the point around here? Yeah, we're gravitating around the harmony. For me, it's not about that. For me, it's more about what it makes me feel. In this case, I wanted to bring an additional energy, an additional melody that is sort of like playing against what is happening with the vocal. And this one is like it's building up underneath the vocal, but it's not taking away from it. Now, when it would come down to actually mixing this, because I'm usually mixing as I am also producing, you want to make sure that all of the elements that you're putting them around, so it gives you an idea if it's going to work or not. I felt like I wanted to add an additional H delay that is just going to give you like a little bit more depth. Overall, what I'm creating is a lead vocal that is just like stuck in the center, right, with the lead vocal. Then the harmony behind it is just giving me color and texture without over reaching out. And then I get the H delay, which is going to add a little bit of more depth. Let's hear it.
Giving me eyes but pulling backwards. Paradoxical. When you're around, I feel I matter. Take me into your world. Giving me eyes but pulling backwards. Paradoxical. When you're around, I feel I matter.
So you notice when I take it out, that's when you're like, oh, it was really there. So in the end, by adding notes around the fundamental, what I'm doing is that I am creating harmonics. I am creating harmonics that are basically coloring your vocal around. It's giving it much more presence, but at the same time, it's not withdrawing attention from it. And that is exactly what I bring up for this section. All right, let's go ahead and check out what I've done for the chorus. For this next section, this is the chorus. So we were talking about how the chorus is very important as it reinforces that melody, which is the hook, which is the one that repeats itself all the time and is the one that our listener basically remembers most of the time, right? Is the one that in production you want to give more emphasis to. So usually there are many ways as you can approach this. In the previous exercise, I literally just chose a preset that I found and I went with it by placing the fundamental chord and the keynote of the song. I was able to get like a pretty interesting harmony right away. For this section in particular, for the chorus, I'm going to create it from scratch using stuff that I would just literally ask my singer to sing. Right? In this case, I don't have the singer, so I have to come up with it, thankfully, through Waves Harmony. So one important thing that I didn't mention with the previous exercise, usually with the plugin by itself, you can obviously just hear the plugin and the source, meaning the original piece of audio that is coming, and you can just hear it with the harmony.
All that I want is
Like right now we're hearing the source, which is just the waveform as it is recorded, and on top of that we're hearing the harmony. In this case, U refers to unison. So basically, Wave's harmony is modulating, it's creating a synthetic harmony out of the actual notes that it's reading. So the plugin captures the notes, each note of the melody of the audio, and then it creates a synthetic voice to it. So usually for choruses, for hooks, I want to be able to hear the same melody but doubled. That is something that you usually do for pop vocals. What it does is that once you ask your singer to double the same melody, it's just going to create an effect, because the singer, as human as it is and as good as it is, it won't be able to replicate a person precisely the same notes at the same time. It's going to have little phasing in and out. And with that little phasing, what it's going to happen is that it's going to feel like it's a much wider, much more present vocal in your overall mix, right? We're talking about mixing, we're talking about production, right? It's reinforcing that melody and making it bigger and bolder. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and do exactly what I would ask a singer. So just go ahead and place the unison right here, right? And just drop a U right there. I don't want to put it on at the center, because at the center, I'm going to keep this original track, which is the lead vocal. So you'll notice that I am actually creating tracks in which where I am not listening to the source. I just want to listen. The source is going to be right here in my vocal with a specific mix that I already got going on. And then I created dedicated harmony vocals. This helps me keep everything organized, and it also allows me to create other mixing processes for those harmonies specific for them. I am going to go ahead and turn off the note correct for the source, since I'm not going to be using that. And notice how I dropped the unison right here, which is exactly the same melody, but pan to the left. So I'm going to actually pan it hard left. I'm going to create another one right here, and this one is going to be hard right, and I'm going to make sure that the levels are matched. So I'm like creating a spread, again, like I would ask my singer to record both like the melody twice and open it in the stereo, so that it sort of like makes everything feel wider. But check out what I'm going to do. In Wave's harmony, it allows you to just go ahead and shift the delay of how the signal is performed as much even. So if I, for example, select this one and I just move it a little bit, I am basically adding a delay of 14 milliseconds to that unison track. So it feels like it's not time aligned exactly, but it has a little bit of a shift, which would happen naturally with a vocal. And with this one, let's say that I would ask my singer to perform it. He wouldn't perform it with the plus 14 milliseconds that he did before, she did before, right? She would just perform it and with a different delay, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do, I don't know, 10 milliseconds. So all of a sudden now I've got two double vocals, but each one has a different type of shift in regards to the original track.
All that I want is all your loving. Give me something, tell me you won't let go. All that I want is all your loving. Give me something, I'm in the danger zone. All that I want is all your loving. Give me something, tell me you won't let go. All that I want is all your love.
Right? You feel right away when it just suddenly grows, right? So then a trick that you usually do now that I've got like a really like bigger, more present sort of like enhanced vocal, I know this is going to work super well. I'm just going to go ahead, and this is pretty cool. You also have a little bit of a filter. So when you filter it out, what you're going to do is that you're going to roll off that high end. So imagine that, let's say like, let's go back to like Motown era, where you're going to have like your lead singer like right in front of the audience, and then you're going to have your backup singers like a little bit behind. So they're going to feel like they're further away. When you roll off your high end, it feels like the signal is coming like further away. So I'm going to create that effect, and I'm going to do a different filter for both vocals. So production wise, it's going to feel like they're not taking over so much presence from the lead vocal, but they're still right there.
All that I want is all your loving. Give me something, tell me you won't let go. All that I want is all your loving. Give me
And just because now I'm thinking about Motown and I'm just going to be like, yeah, what if there was somebody singing like the third? Remember we were talking about how our chords are made of? So right here, all I wanted, right? We're right there in that E major chord. So I've got the all I wanted, right? Everything's stuck with the melody. But what about if I do something that is based on the third major, right? So any all I want is, right? So here I'm gonna go ahead and because it's gonna be like a soul singer, one person right there, I'm just gonna go and do +3.
all that I want is all your loving. Give me something, tell me you won't let go. All that I want is all your loving. Give me something, I'm in the danger zone. All that I want is all your loving. Give me something.
That is right out. So I'm just adding that little color and it's really cool because Waves Harmony again is reading the notes of that original key where the lead vocal is moving on. So it's not like a stuck major third that is just like placed at the same note. No, I'm actually using the intervals. So depending on what my root key is on that note, the +3 is going to be moving around with it, which is just perfect. It is exactly what I need. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead and mix it a little bit, throw some EQ in there, and again, add some delay just to create a little bit more depth, and here it goes.
All that I want is all your loving. Give me something, tell me you won't let go. All that I want is all your loving. Give me something, I'm in the danger zone.
That's super fun and super easy to do. All right, for this final example, we're going to be harmonizing the bridge. So usually the bridge in pop music is where you just do stuff differently. Why? Just because, well, you have to do something between the chorus 2 and the end chorus where it's right before the song ends where you're just going to throw all the fireworks. So usually the bridge is that section where usually there are some different harmonic changes that are introduced, melodic changes introduced, and even new instruments can come, or you can do stuff that you hadn't been able to do. So I'm going to play back from chorus 2, moving on to bridge, and we'll see what happens there.
All that I want is all your loving. Give me something, tell me you won't let go. All that I want is all your loving. Give me something, I'm in the danger zone. I'm in the danger zone. I'm in the danger zone. All that I want.
Right? Clearly it's that moment where like everything just sort of like holds down and then boom, only the danger zone, and it's the hook line, the name of the song, so you want to explode into it. Clearly the songwriter, when she did this, obviously you have the section where she's doing the doo-doo-doo-doo with her own vocals. So this is calling for harmonies, harmonies, harmonies galore, right? So as you have been noticing throughout the whole process, I am literally just dragging and copying the vocals that I have and just pasting them into different sections so I can treat them differently. So you can see that I've got 2 tracks that these are the doo-doo-doo-doo, right? Like the ahs. And then over here, I have the danger zone, which is that all in it, right? And I'm going to do different things for that one. So in this case, for the ahs, I decided to do the following. So in this case, I got these ahs. I opened Waves Harmony. Again, I'm not going to be using the source as this is going to be a dedicated harmony track. But in this case, I am not using the chords. So the original lead track is not triggering chords, I mean group of notes, but it's just doing one thing. When the chords feature is inactive, the rhythmic pattern of the harmony follows the tolerance parameter. For this particular example, it is set at a half note or every 2 beats. The chosen notes will fall within the scale and the key selected. So let's hear how it sounds. So I'm going to go ahead and select that track and hear what I got. Right, so it's doing F sharp, G sharp, da da da, right, one step, and it's sort of like coloring the lead vocal and creating like a little bit of a modulation, but not really just adding texture, not really taking over. Right, so it's creating a little bit of a counterpoint right there, which it works really well. And then I thought, well, I want to do something else. I don't know, because why not? In this case, I'm creating chords, and I found this really cool harmonic sequence called Dream. And let's see when I play the two together, what it does with the original lead vocal melody. So again, in this case, I am letting Waves Harmony suggest the chord pattern. I chose Dream because I felt like it was one that for this section, it sort of created something different, that do-do-do movement that I got going on with that one note. And then the others that are those chords around it are sort of doing the same thing, because you notice like the vocal is doing da 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 da, so it's sort of like moving between a lot of notes. But in this case, this is just doing two chords, da da da, which is that step from F sharp to G sharp and then back, and it's just sort of creating that tension that I really want, because I'm building back into like only the danger zone, and then the chorus has to explode. So let's hear it in context. Right? So it feels like something is about to happen, but it's not giving it away, right? It's not giving it away. On top of that, I love the CLA Epic. I've just like, I don't know, I found this snare top and I tweaked it and it works really well for the effect that I want. And on top of that, I added some reverb, and the same for this one. So this is what it sounds like. Like super like, you know, like dreamy. So it's that different element. I'm doing something. You notice how I hadn't been using CLA Epic or reverb for any of the other sections. So just by contrast, I am just throwing a new element, and this is the production that I've chosen for this. And last but not least, we had that section, which is like only the danger song, right? Over here. So for this case, I felt like, what not use the other features that we have in this case? So I'm not going to be generating the notes. I am not going to be creating the chords. I am actually going to be performing those chords. So I got my keyboard in here, and you see that right now I can't really hear any of the notes because I have to play so that the lead vocal, the audio, triggered the notes. So there is something pretty cool, and this is a key to understand how this plugin works. And I think it's great because it shows that this is designed for musicians, but also for non-musicians. So not to say that obviously it's better, the more you know, it's always great. But in this case, like E major is kind of like a complicated key, especially for people who are not great piano players such as myself, right? Where like there are too many sharps, too many black notes, right? Like you have D sharp and you have F sharp and you also have C sharp and you have D sharp. So you have a lot of sharps. And if you're not very accurate with your fingers, you can do a lot of missteps. Well, guess what happens? So right now I'm playing an F, a natural F, but because Waves Harmony knows that I am in the chord of E, then it knows that the note that I should be playing should be F sharp instead. So you can see there's like, the red is showing the note that I'm playing, but over here on the key row, you can see that there is a little like blue dot. That is the note that Waves Harmony is going to play. It's that F sharp. So even if I play the wrong note, Waves Harmony is already telling me like, hey, Maria, you forgot your music. So it's like, you got to do F sharp and G sharps. What I'm going to do is that I'm looking for stuff that I haven't done before. So I'm going to do what it's called a counter-melody. So the melody is always a danger zone, right? It's sort of like I'm going up. I'm going to go down. I'm in the danger zone. I'm in the danger zone. So you notice that I'm doing only the danger zone. That is the original one. And I'm doing only the danger zone. So I'm going down. So it's like we're doing this. Again, something that I hadn't done before. Super cool. So let's hear it in context. And notice that I was playing the right keys. Right now, I was playing the D sharp and the C sharp. Let's see what happens if I play the wrong keys. I mean, I was assisted by Waves Harmony because it knows that we're in the E major chord. And now for this other section, now because it's the last section, it's that final, only the danger zone all by itself before it explodes into the last chorus, I'm actually going to go up. So I'm going to do a high B and then moving on. There is a note over there. I think it's the strings that are doing like this. I think it's this one. Hold on. Yeah, it's like that accent on the C sharp. So that's exactly what I'm going to copy. So I'm going to go B and then C sharp. So see, I'm playing with the arrangement and I am just creating that excitement before, boom, it breaks into the final chorus. Thank you so much for joining me and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.